Stop the cap.
Do I look like I'm running Wayne Enterprises right now? Your hit on the stock exchange, it didn't work, my friend. And now you have my construction crews going around the city at 24 hours a day. How exactly is that supposed to help my company absorb Wayne's?
Leave us.
No, you stay here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
I've paid you a small fortune.
This gives you power over me?
What is this?
Your money and infrastructure have been important. Till now.
What are you?
I'm Gotham's reckoning. Here to end the borrowed time you've all been living on.
Pure evil.
I'm necessary evil.
Oh man, I keep getting ahead of myself and not posting the videos that I wanted to originally post, and now it's like, I don't even know if I should post them because it's like time sensitive. Certain subjects is going to be like, oh, why is he talking about this again? No, this shit was recorded weeks ago, days to weeks ago. But anyway, I wanted to address this guy. I've seen a bunch of his videos on Mr. Pretentious. He's got a small YouTube channel, only got like 1,000 subs. I think most of his content, most of his opinions are valid. This is an area where the video started off well, and then he just kind of went into an area where I can't disagree with him. And this is the mistake that ELs make, so I'm going to speak about the mistakes that ELs make. Where his video, he's talking about why rich men are not masculine and why they basically have effeminate behavior. He brought up Frenchmen, men of France, Parisians. By American standards, they're very gay. Freaking Korean men are probably the most extreme versions of what we would consider gay, wearing makeup, not going to the gym, not having a strong masculine presence. And I'm saying, other than teenagers, how's that working out for Korean men who are a part of the Asian group? This is the same issue that Asian men have, which is that Asian men, relative to both black men and white men, are seen as less masculine. Take 90% of Asian men and stand them right next to Aquaman, or stand them next to, Mike Tyson in his prime, or stand them next to Chris Hemsworth. It's not going to end well for them. And I'm not here to just shit on Asian men, but I'm saying, we do live in the West, and there are Western standards of masculinity, and you do have to live up to those standards to some degree. The idea of being, so above the proletariat or the working class, that's going to be awkward, that being this guy being African American, because collectively we're not in that sort of position. And majority rules, and the majority of the black community is not in the position to be pretentious. Like, this is one of the mistakes that educated black men make. They go to a HBCU, they go to, a Morehouse or something like that. And like Rich Cooper, loves to say, and I got to give him credit because he was the one that said it, you got to have a strong masculine presence. This is the mistake that educated blames make when it comes to even our own desirability in relative to the streets, or in relationship to the streets. ELs are not winning right now. They're not winning. In terms of, just outright desirability. Ray Ray and Pookie is winning. The street culture is winning. Black men in the streets, either if they either A, have muscles, or B, are known for being violent. There's a downside to not being known for being violent, right? Like, it was like even because Captain Solo is the one that sent me the video, and I was on the move, he was on the move, so we had a brief discussion about it. But he liked the analogy that I use, which is, at the end of the day, right? Because this guy talked about bossing other people around, and I don't have to do that, and I don't have to stick my hand underneath the hood. Let me say this. When you look at Star Wars and you look at the Sith Lords, all of the Sith Lords can get down with the get down. All of the Sith Lords are experts with the lightsaber. They're not just sitting on the throne commanding and telling people what to do and whatnot just because they've been appointed to that position. No, they know how to fight. Whether you're talking about, Darth Sidious, whether you're talking about Darth Maul, whether you're talking about who else was up there? Darth Vader, right? Or who's the other guy? The guy Snoke. All of them know how to use their force powers. Even when being challenged by their Padawans or their what do you want to call it? Their pupils, right? Oh, you must have forgot who the fuck I am. Force lightning, bitch.
Moment came, I didn't hesitate.
And look at you. The deed split your spirit to the bone. You were unbalanced, bested by a girl who had never held a lightsaber. You failed! Skywalker lives. The seed of the Jedi Order lives.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. At the end of the day, they get down. Yoda, right? All the people that are in positions of Master Jedi or Master Sith Lord all know how to get down with the lightsaber. The problem that educated lames have, and many of these other people in pretentious and prestigious positions, even if you have the intellect that allows you to make lots of money, copious amounts of money. The issue is that people recognize that you have an inability to address things in real time. And I often have to strip people down to nothing in order for them to understand this. Well, I'll just call my lawyer, or I'll just call the cops. I'm like, okay, and what happens if you don't have a cell phone on you? Now what? Now what? Are you capable of addressing that in real time? Like he brought up the point about, I don't have to, because I've said the same thing to Cap, but I had to clarify. It's like when you're in a position like, okay, your car breaks down. If you got it like that, you just pay a mechanic to fix your vehicle. Okay? And you can do that. And see, the thing is a lot of ELs across the board are never put to the test. Okay? What happens if you're I don't know, you blow a tire and you're in the middle of you're stuck in the middle of the road in the middle of nowhere. Okay? In the middle of nowhere, you're just fucking stuck. Like in New Jersey, for example, there's like between, let's say, Philadelphia and the New Jersey shore, you got to go through the Pine Barrens. Ain't shit out there. You're literally on the road with tall trees on both sides. It ain't shit out there in the Pine Barrens. And there's certain areas in the Pine Barrens is desolate. Let's just say you blow a tire. Now what you gonna do? Yeah, granted, you could call AAA. AAA will come out there. But I don't know, let's make it more difficult. Let's say there's a snowstorm or something like that. Okay? And they can't get to you in a reasonable amount of time. What are you going to do in that situation? There becomes a point, this goes back to the video that I did addressing, Tariq Nasheed and the whole, concept of the whole, when people were questioning, why can't the street dudes handle a lot of the problems in the community? And I'm not going to cover all that. That's was said in the other video. But what I'm saying is, you don't understand how much you look like a bitch when at the end of the day, it's recognized that you don't handle situations. Like, in other words, you don't handle situations so much that people don't even think of you when it comes to handling a situation. That's not good. At the end of the day, when you want to talk about, the freaking Sith Lords in Star Wars, they are their own final boss. Okay? After everything else is defeated, after the Imperial Guards are defeated, the guys that were in the all red with, that were that were Snoke's guards and shit like that. After they're defeated, okay, that's when you throw the cape off of your shoulders and you got to get with the get down. Okay? When the protagonist approaches your throne, you say, guards, get him, stop him. Okay, and then he takes out the guards. Okay, then at the end, you're supposed to stand up, throw the cape off your shoulder, and then turn, and then basically say, let's do this, right? And then the epic music starts playing and shit. Right? That's how it's supposed to be. But see, the thing is, what ends up happening with ELs is you say, guards, and then the guards get defeated, and then you're scrambling looking for the ejection pod. You're scrambling, looking to how you're going to escape this situation.
Time to abandon ship.
Okay, just like the scene with Bane, right? Where the guy was like, I gave you a small fortune. And then what did Bane say? You think this gives you power over me? How? Right? And you see, Bane handled that situation in real time. It doesn't matter that you've been appointed a certain position. It doesn't matter that you have this power that you think that you have, if that power, you can't use it in real time. I remember when I think there was like a song, it had Styles P in it, and Styles P, I think the lyric was something like, motherfuckers talking about what type of guns they got, and he was like, basically, like, that lets me know that you don't got it on you now. Like, you don't got it on you now. Now is where it matters. It doesn't matter that you got all type of firepower back home. That doesn't matter. Do you got the pipe on you now? In real time. And there seems to be this problem, this lack of understanding when it comes to the EL population of black men, of being able to address situations in real time. In real time. This even goes into, when it comes to a lot of the foul shit, the dumb shit, the retarded shit that black women do in the community. You know why a lot of that shit goes down? Because we're not there to address it in real time. That mainly applies, to Ray Ray and Pookie, but even as an educated lane population, you're not there in real time. You're not there to check Pookie. You're not there to check the black women. You don't have all this power that you talk about that you have, like what he was talking about. I'm like, and where does that apply to the community? This is the whole problem with black men operating in another man's patriarchy and being worried about the rules and the regulations of another man's patriarchy. You see? And other people are aware of that. They're aware of the fact that, yeah, shut the fuck up, nigga. You worried about losing your motherfucking job. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna run up on me with the blicky. Because you ain't gonna do shit. Why do you think Luigi Mangione is getting all the respect that he's getting? Because he took it there. You see, but when it comes to us operating in another man's patriarchy, worried about our good job and our pension or our 401k or that next promotion, or not wanting to be, have our face slapped all over Facebook, and on the news or some shit like that. It doesn't matter what the rules are. At the end of the day, you're still seen as a bitch. And you gotta gauge that yourself. You see, like, the problem is like, educated lames don't have as much power as they think they have. Like the tone with which this dude was talking. I'm like, dude, here you got Donald Trump got felonies, right? And white society is like, we don't care. That's white society. We don't care. You see? And where are educated lames ever in a position to where, Yeah, motherfucker stepped out of line, I had to handle it. And then other educated lames are like, don't worry about it, you good. Don't worry about it, you good. Like, in other words, real power is when you can not only bend the rules, but possibly break the rules and still get away with the shit. So, you know, his whole idea of, you know, when you're rolling in these elite circles, yeah, when you're rolling in elite circles, you know, of white people and they like you and maybe they're looking out for you, but I don't see where you have these networks of educated black men that are wielding that type of power even in their own space, to where individuals that do bend the rules or break the rules are being protected by other ELs. Other ELs have a horrific track record of protecting each other. Horrific track record of protecting and looking out for each other. Ray and Pookie, yeah, there's some, you know, there's no honor amongst thieves going on and backstabbing and all that other shit, but they do have some level of a G code. There's some level of it. There's some level of, you know, some shit was handled. Nah, that motherfucker, you know, I love him like a brother, but that motherfucker had it coming. And I told him and I warned him not to do X, Y, and Z. But he didn't listen. You see? So, you know, you have that aspect. Trying to think what other aspect, because I'm about to pull up to my location. But trying to think what other aspect. There was one other thing I wanted to touch on. Oh yeah, the thing about, you know, having a strong masculine presence. Like, one of the things that he said is, you know, when you have money or power or whatever, you know, people can't literally outwardly see that. You know, it's like, I got a friend of mine, he actually owns a Ferrari. And, you know, he's smaller than me, not as big as me. I'm in the 1% of size and weight. And, you know, he was saying to me one time, he was like, yeah, man, it's not like I got the fucking Ferrari in the club with me. He's like, when you stand next to me, motherfucker, like, yeah, the women are going to look at you because they see your size, they see your masculinity, they see, you know, your muscles. And there's another thing about muscles that always gets ignored. Okay, when you have money and you have power, yes, it's extremely important. However, the problem is, if your reputation doesn't precede you, okay, muscles are something that people can actually literally see. This is one of the reasons why you have men that when they go out there and they want to show that they have wealth, they got to have ostentatious displays of wealth. They got to have the gold, the rings, and all that shit, right? Because there's no other way, at least in black people's mind, for them to demonstrate that they actually have wealth. Okay, like owning land and having companies that are making money and generating revenue, right? As opposed to just simply, you know, showing these ostentatious displays of wealth. But muscles are kind of an ostentatious display of wealth. Actually, it's a subtle display of, I shouldn't say wealth, a subtle display of who you are as an individual. You know why? You know why muscles are important? They're not just important for intimidation. Muscles are important because they highlight your level of physical discipline. And I don't know why ELs just don't add this to all of their squareness. I'm like, make your money, get your degrees, be educated, do what you do, but add the muscles to it. Add the muscles to it. I don't know why that's so difficult to do. I don't know why the men like this always fight that reality. Like, he does look gay. He sounds gay. You know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, how often do we see men who look and sound like him later on is with a woman for 3 to 5 years, and then she comes back and reports, you know, that, you know, he's on the down low. And we're sitting there like, oh, you don't say. We didn't realize. Like, no, we knew that the motherfucker was gay because of the way that he talked and carried himself and everything. We suspected it. So it's not a surprise when later on it comes out. Very rarely do you see a guy that is truly masculine that ends up being on the down low. So there's also the added risk of homosexuality that's there, when you come off as a feminine man. And again, the other thing is, all of this relies too much on modernity. Like, in other words, you're just as much dependent on the system that allows weaker, men, through their intellect to thrive, right? Where you're just as dependent on the system as a woman is. You're just as dependent on modernity as a woman is. And that's not cute. That's not attractive. Again, always deferring the responsibility to men that you deem beneath you or lesser beings. Okay, there gets to a point where, okay, well, what happens when they're not there? It's one thing to say, oh, I can pay a mechanic to fix my car. It's another thing to say that I know how to do it myself. I just don't feel like doing it, and I'm going to pay somebody else to do it, versus not knowing how to do it at all. And again, what ELs need to recognize is there's a lot of areas where you're out of practice because you think of yourselves as so high up on the mountaintop on Mount Olympus that nobody witnesses you handling shit in real time. Nobody sees that. You know what I mean? I mean, even white men have to deal with the reality of this when it comes to quote unquote black thugs and why white women are attracted to black thugs. They're attracted to black thugs because black thugs handle shit in real time. They don't defer to the bouncers. They don't defer to the police officers. They run up in your shit. And even if you and Pookie get into it, and the cops come and arrest Pookie, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's like, if you got your ass beat in that situation, you got your ass beat. It may take the cops 4, 5, 10 minutes to get there, but in that meantime, your ass is grass. Your ass is his. You see? In the meantime. And all that ass whooping, all that freaking, he got you by the neck and he's just throwing, just pummeling your face in, okay? All that is happening and your girl's just sitting there witnessing that shit. And you're screaming for security. You don't see how weak that looks? Again, you have to be your own final boss. The buck has to stop with you. You cannot be the villain that, you're throwing everything at the protagonist. You're throwing everything at Batman. Huh, Batman, take my droids. Huh, Batman, take my henchmen. Huh, Batman, take my mini boss. And then at the end of it, you're not the final boss. At that point, it's like, damn, why is anybody even listening to you? I mean, hell, your mini boss has more heart than you got. Your mini boss, is actually trying to fight Batman. But you over there, trying to escape in the helicopter. How many times are you going to escape in the helicopter before people realize this motherfucker's a bitch? He's a bitch. He doesn't handle any of his own situations. Okay? At some point in time, Zeus is going to have to come down from Mount Olympus and handle the shit himself. You know what I'm saying? Like Darth Vader, like in Star Wars, right? When they were trying to attack the Death Star, what did Darth Vader do? Did Darth Vader do like all the pretentious British actors that are the admirals and generals of it that are that are commanding shit, from the glass, on the deck of the Star Destroyers? You know what I'm saying? Mount the guns. You know what I mean? Deploy the TIE fighters, just commanding. No, Darth Vader was like, you come with me, and got in his own motherfucking TIE fighter and then went out there and got in the trenches to go after Luke Skywalker.
Stay in attack formation. He
got in the bitch his goddamn self. You know what I'm saying? Like freaking Darth Vader shows up. He leads from the front. He doesn't lead from the back. He leads from the front. You see? And that's the part that educated lames don't get. They see the lifestyle that white men live and the shit that they promote, and how, you know, the super wealthy are like, oh, we don't get our hands dirty ever. You know, they're acting like fucking the dude that Rose was fucking with in Titanic, you know, the guy that she didn't want to marry. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of attributes about those people that you got to remember. The vast majority of people who are in the proletariat do not respect. And as a black man in the black community, you have to understand that what the vast majority of the black community is, and and how most black people operate. If you want to win in the white community, good luck with that shit. Because in my opinion, you're not going to win because you're not one of them. But if you think that you're going to win in the black community with that without ever having to get your hands dirty, it's just simply not going to happen. There's too many situations where Pookie has already pulled your number. Pookie already looks at you and is like, yeah, this motherfucker ain't going to do shit. You know what I mean? And Pookie's just going to run up on you and show everybody who you are not. You know, remember that guy, the guy that I had the video of, the one in Florida, the one that I did the video, some of you all remember the video. Just type in Florida in my videos and you'll see it come up. The guy that I was talking to, you know, that's 100% street dude. You can tell he's a street dude. You know what I mean? But you know, the dude had respect for me just off of the fact that I was carrying. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I was a thug or a street dude or any of that. He just looked at it and he said point blank. I remember when he said it to me, and he says it in the video as well. He's like, nah, this motherfucker's, because people actually, the funny thing is people thought I was a cop. That's what they thought I was. They thought I was like some undercover cop because of my squareness. But in any event, he was like, nah, that motherfucker ain't a square. He's like, nah, that motherfucker ready for war. You know, so even though I've, you know, never demonstrated being in war, I'm ready if some shit, you know, pops off or some shit goes down. And that's important. That's important. It ain't going to be just me cowering in a corner, you know, running away or some shit like that. Like, no. You know what I mean? To the best of my ability, I try to keep that fire on me because I know that, you know, people out here, they will try you. You know, they will try you. Now, as a rule, it probably would happen less to me because I also have the physical presence and, you know, I keep the fire on me. I got those two things. And I don't even know why I call it the fire. I got that shit from him. I got that shit from the dude in Florida. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, you got that fire on you. I was like, why do you call it fire? And then next thing you know, I'm running around calling it the fire. You know? Instead of saying shit like where I'm actually from, where people, they call it the blicky and all that other shit. But he's like, yeah, you got that fire on you. You know, I mean, this goes in it. I mean, you cannot get so complacent that you think that you're never going to have to rise to the occasion and you're never going to have to, you know, put your foot down and you're never going to have to stop or handle a situation in real time. And that's where the complacency with I don't have to have muscles. If you don't have to have muscles, then that means you don't even train on any level to be able to either A, intimidate, or B, prevent a situation from going down in real time. You know, at the end of the day, I don't care how advanced you think we are as a species, at the end of the day, you're still going to have to handle shit, you know, caveman style in some situations. It doesn't mean that you, in other words, it doesn't mean that you have to handle a situation like that. It's about you being capable of handling a situation like that. I mean, even Jordan Peterson recognizes this, and we all know he's not a muscle-bound brute by any standard. Okay, but the idea is that you need to always be dangerous, but have it underneath voluntary control. Again, like I said in my video about Luigi Mangione, where does this world of nonviolence exist? The U.S. military has bases all around the world. You know what I'm saying? The U.S. literally projects its violence around the world. So where do you get this idea that we're somehow not a violent species, and that you don't have to prepare yourself for violence? If somebody breaks into your house and you got your wife and children there, what are you going to do? Hold on a second. Wait 1 minute. Let me get to my phone so I can call 911. Or are you going to handle it, in real time and have, that burglar, freaking a Bronx Tale. Now you can't leave. You gotta be able to handle that shit is so meaningful it's not even funny. On top of the fact that, let's call it what it is. Who's complaining about who's stealing whose bitches? Like he talked about, women who grow up in the urban environment, they're attracted to men that are more, street and have more hyper masculinity. Yeah, that's 100% true. Hostile environment. Typically, the women are going to want men that can engage and interact in that hostile environment. 100% accurate. However, who's complaining about who's stealing whose bitches? Are educated lames going into the inner city and stealing street dudes' bitches? Or are street dudes going into the burbs or going into these bougie environments and stealing educated lames' bitches? You see? Like, again, even if I talk about race and I go over to the white boys, I'm like, the black men are not bitching about white men coming into the black community stealing black women. I know they'll say, well, we don't even like black women, blah, 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 blah. It's not the point. The point is that, as beneath white men as black men supposedly are, right? As beneath them as we are, they're worried about us stealing their bitch. So clearly, just simply, engaging in modernity, engaging in the, well, Rebecca, I can provide this, and clearly that's not enough. Clearly, women have other criteria other than your ability to just provide stability or just provide a lifestyle. Clearly, there's primitive base instincts that are still there, and women have not transcended that yet. So talking about it as though women have, when women haven't, just because you think that you have, you're missing it. You're missing it. And then, in usually comes the, well, if a woman that's the type of woman that she is, well, then I don't want her. That's the shit that white guys do. If she's a mud shark, if she wants to be a single mom, they over there crying, trying to find some way to dismiss the woman. That way they don't have to recognize their own inadequacies. I'm like, and here's the thing, it goes on so much, right? Like I said, every black man in America could marry a white woman and it wouldn't make a dent in the white population. Because remember, only 43% of white men are fathers. And just above 50%, I think it's like 54.7% or something like that, of white women are mothers. I think it might be 54.3%. I forget what it is. Anyway, it's like 54% of white women, are mothers. Anywhere from 54 to 56, I forget what the exact number is, but it's above 50%. Okay, so there's 40-some% and change of white women that will never have a child and never give birth. So I'm saying, even with that reality, white men are still running around. They would have you thinking that black men are just out here just snatching up all the white women. And I guess it feels that way if white women, even though they don't end up marrying a black man or having a child by a black man, white men don't even like the idea of them fucking a black man. So I don't know what the numbers are on how many of us, what's the percentage of white women that are getting fucked by black men. I don't know. But what I'm saying, the point that I'm trying to make here is clearly the idea of that upper class world does not stop women from literally moving around, just going in any freaking direction. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stop them from going down, going up, going sideways. It doesn't stop them. Okay? You cannot stop women from whatever reasons or justifications they have for why they're attracted to a particular man. So we know that money and resources is not absolutely everything. If you believe that, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Stability alone is not going to get you there. You do have to have other things, usually, some amount of charisma, humor, kindness, swag, game, and a degree based on the society or the culture that you're in of whatever that defining factor of masculinity is that a woman is going to find attractive. You got to have it. I don't know why this guy, he tried to dismiss it. He tried to act like, we just don't deal in that world. Okay. But again, even the women in that world will find a blue collar guy. Like, isn't there a guy, his whole YouTube channel, literally, this guy is married, and his whole YouTube channel is him chopping wood with an axe with his shirt on, or his shirt off. Okay? He got suspenders. He's literally playing a fucking, a template. He's literally playing a cartoon character of a lumberjack. And he's like, have you ever seen real lumberjacks? Real lumberjacks don't look that fit. They're usually middle-aged, got big beer bellies, guys that work in Alaska, okay? They don't look like this guy does. And I remember watching a video where he's just sitting there, white dude, he's just swinging the axe, he's just hitting it, right? And what he does is he fucks with the women as he's hitting it because he's acting like he's deep stroking as he's swinging his axe. He's like, yeah, oh, fuck, yeah. And I remember when he said, oh, fuck, and I was like, what is this, supposed to be sexual? I went right to the comments, and the women's comments were like, oh, when he said, oh, fuck, I just creamed myself. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, see? I'm like, women are attracted to that shit. You know what I mean? There's probably all type of women. Again, like somebody said in my comment section, 50 Shades of Grey, that should sum it all up. The way that book sold. You know what I mean? All this, I can be sassy and I can sip my glass of wine, because he got a picture of him in his thumbnail where he's sitting there wearing a hat in a way that just it's like the way a woman wears a hat. You know how, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like the way he's got his hat is like how a woman wears his hat. Like a soccer mom wears her hat. That's how he's wearing his hat. But anyway, he's sitting there at a table with his legs crossed. I think his legs were crossed, with a wine glass. Mr. Pretentious. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, dude, this ain't, no. You can be pretentious. You can be, all, like Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne carried himself, but by night, Bruce Wayne was who? Batman. Bruce Wayne got down with the get down. And I understand these are all fictional characters, but the reason why people gravitate towards them, because that's the ideal man. The ideal man is a capable man. He's a strong man. He's a wealthy man. He's an intelligent man. Batman literally embodies all of that. Batman's got the intellect. He's got the tools, the weapons. You know what I mean? Like Joker said in Batman, the original one with Michael Keaton, where does he get those wonderful toys? So Batman just got it all. He can fight, he's wealthy, and he has, all the technology and shit that even the military doesn't even have. I mean, come on. You know, the concept should be is to max out and be the best that you can be. Be the best type of man that you can be. You're not going to cover all these bases. You're not going to be an expert or awesome in every area. But to dismiss these other areas of masculinity that are equally as important, I think is a grave mistake. And it's a grave mistake that many educated, lame men across the board, I don't care what your favorite racial color is, across the board make. They make this mistake. Black men who sit up in the church make this mistake. Oh, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Oh, yes, I love Jesus. You know, all that bullshit. You know what I mean? Again, even God's Archangel Michael, you know, carried a fucking sword. You know what I'm saying? What is he carrying a sword for? Whose ass is he whipping? If God is nothing but love, right? Why does he have a sword? You see? So I'm saying, you know, you gotta understand this. And I'm just making this video as a video response. I may throw it underneath his comment section, but I'm like, nah, dude, this is the area that you're getting wrong. You're getting this part wrong. At some point, you're going to have to demonstrate that you can get down. And I'm not saying not even as an individual, because you could have possibly, you know, 80% of ELs not doing anything if 20% had the reputation of fucking getting down. But we don't even have 20% that has the reputation of getting down. We have no percent. Like I said, that brother that got killed at the Seaside Lounge down there in Houston, right? Had the guys that did it been caught? Did suddenly, you know, these men show up missing? No. And again, that brother was a representation of you. He was an engineer. And yet his death goes unanswered. Unanswered. Even just internally within the black community. A member of what is supposed to be a reflection of you was killed, and there's no response. There's no response. There's no reprisal. And that's why when it comes to being a quote unquote EL, it's a fucking problem. And that's why when it comes to my advocacy for the Second Amendment, it's not just about my love for the Second Amendment or my appreciation of firearms. No, it's for this particular reason. Because we already know the Ray Rays and Pookies already got, you know, they already got firepower. You know, and again, I believe that many of them wouldn't even be in the streets if those of the higher intellectual class were out here creating economic opportunities, you know, not just for them, but economic opportunities where they could hire some of these people, and there was more of a relationship in the community between the black so-called upper classes and the middle to lower classes. You know, like Thugtician called this out when he first came to the internet, that the black, you know, middle class is supposed to be a segue into the upper class. They're supposed to be a bridge. They're supposed to be active in the community, and they're not. They're not. You know, there's no relationship. This is the whole thing with, you know, we talk about white flight, but we don't talk about black flight. We don't talk about, you know, once a segregation was over, you know, how black people, you know, because that, you know, yes, granted, the economic opportunities were there, crime was on the rise, black people who could left. You know, and we don't like to have this conversation about how much should the upper class or upper middle class black people expose their family dynamics to, you know, the other black people in the community that are struggling. You know, because, you know, I'm saying, you see Giddy the Kid, you see what happened to his son. You know what I'm saying? Did he need to be there? Did he need to be in that environment? I don't know what Giddy the Kid's what his net worth is. I don't know what his net worth is. You know what I mean? But did his son need to be out there on the block? No. And the thing is seeing shit like that does not encourage, the upper middle class or whatever of black people, right? This upper echelon of, professional blacks. It doesn't encourage them to be in that environment. Some of it is too big for them to deal with because the economic opportunities are not on the table and they're not on the horizon. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have black people that are from the inner city and shit not act like absolute fools and assholes. They got to have a dog in the fight. They got to have something to lose. They got to sit there and be like, nah, I ain't going to do that bullshit. Nah, man, I'm going to put down the weed, man. Yo, put that shit away. You know what I'm saying? I got a good job. I got good this, good that. Again, people are not following the rules out here out of the goodness of their heart. You take away the rewards, you take away the respect, you take away the compensation. People are going to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They're not going to follow structure when at the end of the day, following structure doesn't get them anywhere. It's just a bunch of rules that a bunch of bougie elite people think, oh, well, you should be following me just because. Why should they follow you? You're not providing any opportunities, right? Your networks suck. And then on top of that, you can't beat my motherfucking ass. So why the fuck should I follow you? You ain't sharing nothing. Why should I follow your idea of respectability politics that you got from White Zaddy? Why should I follow that? That's what people in this inner city are thinking when they see you. They're not thinking because you haven't set anything up. You haven't defined anything. You know what I mean? You're not in a position that they actually want to be in, that you control. You get your opportunities from White Zaddy. You haven't created your own opportunities. You see? And so you don't really have a voice in the space. And again, women see that and panties dry up. Like Six the Goddess said. You know what I mean? She's like, and I've heard other women say this. They do not respect black men that other black men do not respect. And now you got to ask yourself, what type of position are other black men? When they say other black men, what position are most black men in? Are there more black men like you with advanced degrees, or are there more black men that aren't in that position and don't have those type of economic opportunities? So they're looking for how those men look at you, because those men represent the majority. You see? And I'm not saying like if you want to talk about a fixed black community, am I saying that a fixed black community means that all black men need to be in the upper class? No. But you do have to have a critical mass, a majority of black men that are functioning in stable homes. Once you have stable homes, stable marriages, home ownership, all that shit, raising kids and everything, now you can get into some real community conversations, because those men have dogs in the fight. Okay, they're actively participating in the lives of their children. They care about the conditions and the environments of the community. Like I said, y'all can say all that you want about the black dude getting run up on by the white dudes in Sarasota, Texas. I think it was Sarasota, Florida. You know, but at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, nah, that's what you're gonna get in a patriarchal environment. Yeah, who the fuck is you? We see you walking, and we got wives and daughters and families and shit. Like, who the hell are you? Right? This random black dude. And yes, Florida is racist as fuck. And Florida's wealth inequality is crazy. Because Florida, you're either rich or you don't have shit. That's the way Florida is set up. And all the rich people, if there's a body of water, a lake, because Florida has tons of lakes. People talk about the damn, I don't even know why it's special to live next to a lake in Florida, because you damn sure can't swim in that bitch, because there's crocs in those lakes. I don't understand people, like, and go ahead, Google it. I guarantee you within the last year, last 24 months, there was some person that got gobbled up because they decided that they were going skinny dipping in one of these lakes like a dumbass. You got freaking, not only do you got gators, you got freaking Naglaria. And Naglaria is that brain-eating amoeba that goes through the cribriform plate in your nose, and then it starts to just eat your brain up, and then you basically die. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think there's only a very few people who have survived it. I think one of the ways that they try to get people to survive is they like brought their body temperature down and then gave them, you know, a bunch of, you know, freaking amphotericin B and shit like that and tried to, you know, deal with that. But, you know, the shake and bake, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, Florida, you know, just crazy wealth inequality, but that's a whole nother conversation. My point is that, you know, we do need to have a critical mass of black men that are in these traditional type of family structures. And quiet as is kept, it's not just about the economic opportunities. It's also about the mentality of black women. But that, you know, I've covered that a million times. I'm not going to cover that here. Okay, because all that feminist shit that they have in their heads, all that old traditional family structure is oppressive to women. You can't do anything with that, even if the men were in the proper position. If you fundamentally view, you know, patriarchal, you know, households with a man that has the resources to provide that as oppressive, we don't have anything to discuss. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. That's my video, SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. I got to scramble because right now I'm late. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where you at?
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at?